Scott is the Ric Flair of pee.
So what's going on with that guy? He says, I like to make noises when I go.
Listen, 50% of that is the struggle is real at my age. Like, I have to push. Woo! The other 50% is I just like to enjoy the go.
Just feels good to pee.
Dude, that's exactly what it sounds like. And I'll be like, what just happened?
All right, guys, what's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, right now, yet again for another episode of This Evening Tonight, live and pre-recorded for your viewing and listening pleasure. This evening, joining here with me, the Lord of Imaginary Lats, with a beard second to none than Paul Bunyan, a man with an eternal love of Bush Light. Very good friend of mine. He's known by many names amongst us, but we lovingly call him by another. Zach.
The Doorman!
The Door Man. What up? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Much better now. And also here with me, you know him, you love him, the Silver Fox of Sexy Brews of Coffee. My friend and hetero life mate, even though it is a little bit of an age gap between us. Always here to please. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Scott.
That's much better than his intro. Like,
Yeah.
I can't describe how scary your mustache looked when you did his intro.
Oh, yes. So quick update here for everybody. The River has lost his luxurious man beard that he swore to uphold and defend like the Constitution of the United States. To defend it from all razors, foreign and domestic. My face was invaded not but a fortnight ago. Well, not even that. It was like 4 days ago. And, yeah, had that beard for over 11 years and had to get rid of it. And I look like Ned Flanders now.
Ooh, I didn't think of that one.
Or Ron Burgundy, or Ed Kemper was a new one. God, it's
Ed Kemper? Who said that?
somebody at the other job. I was like, wow. And then they all pulled up a photo of it and said, yep, looks like Ed Kemper. I said, I'm not chopping people's heads off. But yeah, so to get the show here started, we are drinking ourselves a little bit more some that good coffee. And we made a return here to the Iron Bean Coffee Company like we just did last week. Except this time we're drinking the Rocco blend, a dark Ethiopian Yirgacheffe from the Iron Bean Coffee Company. Apparently that is a veteran-owned and operated company. It was a U.S. Marine Corps vet.
For this coffee?
Yeah. What do you
I don't.
He can't
'Cause you
taste
just-
it. Over.
like, what do you think of the
'Cause you
coffee?
just-
And you hold up a Bush Light.
Well, I mean, it was like, I just didn't see a veteran coming up with like some type of crazy foreign coffee like that.
Coffee's all the rage, man. Gotta
they're
get
coffee snobs
Got to
now.
get on the bus
They're as bad as beer snobs.
Vets are taking over the coffee industry.
They are.
because we like coffee. We drink more of it probably than most of the populace.
Proper coffee, not hipster coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, like hipster beer.
I mean, the Ethiopian Yirgacheffe is just the blend of coffee where it, hails from is Ethiopia. You can make any coffee a hipster coffee if you do enough stupid shit to it. I mean, this is just French press. Yeah, I mean, we got fancy, and that's actually the best way I've discovered now to drink coffee. But
I'll let you know.
I'm
here in a
not
minute.
mad at this. I'm not mad at this. It's smooth.
Yeah.
We put a little bit less in the grinds than we normally do because it was a dark roast, so it came out a little lighter. But I can still not really see through it, so that passes my test.
This would make a good after dinner coffee.
I don't
Like
try. I
this.
try not to drink coffee after dinner. Like I didn't have any coffee
You
yesterday.
mean with like dessert?
Yeah, like with like cheesecake,
Yeah, like
Ooh,
cheesecake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
like some chocolate cheesecake,
Mm.
strawberry, whatever you prefer. I'll leave that up to you.
Keep them guessing.
I'm just gonna make the banana noise a little bit.
So disturbing.
Hey, if you're ever on a flight, you can annoy somebody with that.
Well, there's a lot of things you can annoy people
Like if
with.
it's just quiet and you're sitting like on an elevator, crowded elevator, just when it's quiet and everybody's trying to do their own thing, you just just loud enough so they can hear it. And if you get bold, you can try to do like the double banana, which is now only if you're like a true like veteran of this game. You have to do, only veterans can attempt the triple banana. You got to do it at random intervals. Can't do it and get a steady stream because then they'll know it's you. You just got to, they'll know you're doing something on purpose. You do it at random intervals every 30 to 90 seconds. Mess with their head, make them real uncomfortable. So real quick here, guys, today, the recording date as of March 25th, 2020. We're just going to give a brief synopsis here of where we are sitting at as the United States is sitting at in our coronavirus pandemic. And holy shit. Just pulled up the numbers. As of today, the 25th, like I said, of March 2020, we're at 60,115 confirmed cases with 827 total deaths. Of the total 60,000 infected so far, 354 have recovered. And our home state of West Flippin' Virginia, we got a lot. We're getting a lot now. Mon County, where Morgantown is at, is up to 16. And the county right next to it, Preston, has one confirmed case so far.
I think we're up to 39 now, or 29.
Something like that. I mean,
but the majority of them are in Mon County. I want to say that probably has a lot to do with.
We got 3 in Harrison County, 2 in Marshall County,
4 in Kanawha,
2 in Tucker, 3 in Rockingham. That's Virginia.
Yeah.
4 in Charleston, 1 in Putnam. Gallia, oh wait, that's Ohio. Jackson, West Virginia's got 2. And then 2 in Mercer County. So we're getting there. I don't like it.
Well, the Mon County, I think a lot of those numbers center around that nursing home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sundale or whatever it was.
It's like 3 staff.
Sunnyvale or Sundale or something like that.
Not to make light of it, but I think we're still faring better than most other states.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have to look at the stellar leadership that our state has had. Our Lord and Savior, Jim Justice, the governor of the state, has finally issued a stay-at-home order. As of yesterday, on Tuesday, the 24th, he issued the order of stay-at-home for all non-essential businesses to close down starting at 8 p.m. yesterday. Really, not a lot has changed. There's still people out there.
I was trying to figure out when I was looking through the paperwork, the release of essential businesses, who is not essential? There's not very many.
I believe my chiropractor
barbers
sent out
maybe?
an email.
Barbers?
Yeah, hair salons are closed.
But gas stations are staying open, grocery stores, restaurants.
Banks will stay open.
Yeah.
So pretty much everything but places to essentially eat, other than fast food places. If you have to go in and order,
some of them are staying open. You just can't go in the lobby.
Yeah,
I know a lot of
drive-through or
delivery, the DoorDash thing.
It's
Grubhub is saving this country right now.
It's definitely a pain, ruining wing night week after week. But
you can still have wing night. You just have to eat it in sadness by yourself.
Yeah, but who wants to do that? On a good note, Friday you'll have pepperoni beef.
I'm looking forward to that.
Good.
Why are you having pepperoni beef?
It started last quarter.
He brings me food.
Yeah, I feed Scott from time to time.
Pepperoni beef it's on point. Not to deviate.
Oh, there you go. You had some of the coffee. How's that working out?
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was getting ready to be upset, but it's really good. But I would contribute the low coronavirus cases in West Virginia mainly because you can just look it up and say we didn't have the testing as other states did. But not only that, our population is so spread out.
We are spread out and unhealthy.
Yeah,
we're ready.
And old. Really, it should probably be hitting us a lot harder than it is.
Yeah, because our population's terribly old. It's sad, but
terribly unemployed.
Luckily, we're all just excellent physical specimens of health that we will weather this storm.
I think we're so unhealthy that it doesn't affect us. It moves to somebody else because you think in New York and all the cities, most of those people are all into fitness and working out. Mm-hmm. It's just a big thing. They're all the ones getting sick. So the virus, man, they ain't trying to mess with us.
It's all that Bush Light you've been drinking that's been keeping you healthy.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's all those 12-hour naps and Bush Light.
We're so fat we make viruses tired.
That's how I'm ready for it. Also, since all guests on the show will now also be receiving a free complimentary Radiance disinfectant wipe to go.
One wipe or the whole container?
You get one wipe.
What kind of message are you trying to send there?
I'm just saying, make sure you're disinfected.
Dog looking fat.
Hey, let me tell you something funny I saw today at the grocery store. You know, now in the last couple of years, they've put out the wipes. So when you get a buggy, you can wipe down the handle of the cart.
Mm-hmm.
Today I saw...
I already think I know what somebody's done.
I literally saw this guy and his woman. He was literally pulling them out. Like, they just kept going. He just kept... And then he shoved them in his pocket and went inside. And then I saw him ring up and leave. Like, so he carried all...
Why wouldn't you just do that on the way out?
He literally... I saw this guy take... I bet he took 50 of them out of that little pull roll, put them in his Carhartt. I was in the store for 45 minutes. And remember, because I texted you, said, hey, I'm en route. I was leaving the store. And sure enough, that guy was doing the self-checkout as I was doing the not self-checkout.
Did he buy anything?
He bought cereal, Mountain Dew, and cigarettes.
Survive.
And you know what? He looked pretty healthy.
Got all the food groups
Oh
covered.
my God.
I just wanted to share that. I just realized that happened to me today.
Jesus.
Yeah.
True story.
Dude, West Virginia's great.
Oh my God.
Tell me how sad that is. Like,
That is hands down one of the saddest things I think I've ever.
That's awesome.
I really I just thought of that. I was going to ask him for a hand wipe, but, you know, he looked like he was in a hurry to his trail blazer or whatever he's running to.
So these are like So these are like Clorox wipes in a dispenser.
Mm-hmm. They're just there for you to pull one out and wipe the handle of your push cart out.
So he ripped them all out and stowed them so he could have a supply.
These don't get pulled from the bottom; they get pulled from the top. So as he's literally standing there, pulling one after another, I saw it for at least half a football field walk in the store. I watched this guy do this. As soon as I walked in, he'd already crammed them in his pocket, and he walked past the cookie aisle, and he was gone. I couldn't believe it. But it didn't stop me from my day. I pulled one out and wiped my cart down and kept going.
Like a man, like you're supposed to do.
Yeah, well, because...
Like a grown-ass adult.
Yeah, well, I normally wouldn't even do that, but, they're right there, and with this virus going on, I ain't trying to be laid up off of work, so...
You know what I realized, though, throughout this whole outbreak and everything that was going on? I love touching my face. I have never been, and especially since I shaved my beard, I was like, all I do is touch this. I'm like, what is this? And especially that I've shaved after 11 years, and I find this thing hanging down the bottom of, like, where my neck is, this, like, looser, kind of saggy piece of skin.
We call that the Jim Justice.
Yeah, like, he is the Lord of the Gobblers.
So are we allowed to eat at Bob Evans?
I was wondering about that.
He will save us.
Or, hey, by the way, why did he pick Bob Evans?
It's West Virginia, man.
It's the most
like
West Virginian thing out there, man. It's Bob Evans.
I don't even think it's any good.
Bob Evans used to be good back when I was a kid. And I'll never forget it. They had this, like, brown sugar pancake thing. And it had, like, little crispies of brown sugar on it. And it was awesome.
Shoney's or Bob Evans? Go.
Bob Evans.
Shoney's.
Well, I mean, are we talking now?
Anytime.
Now Shoney's.
Breakfast buffet.
The breakfast buffet, you can't beat it. I mean, it's the...
I grew up on that, which is why I'm so husky.
That's what I tell everybody, too. I think the only thing more West Virginian than that would be Tudor's Biscuit World.
Yeah, what?
Going down to Tudor's, get your biscuit. But the one thing, okay,
Calm
Jim Justice.
down.
Let's go back to Jim here for a minute.
Yes.
Not too many people, myself included, have really followed this governor closely, and me as pretty much a lifelong state resident. That man has a gift, and that gift is to not ever coherently and completely make a sentence from the English language. His command of fucking syntax is out of this world. What was that? What was that quote that you had? Pull that quote up of him.
And you know what? Just as I'm looking that up, let me back you up on more Jim Justice.
Yeah, pull that quote up though that you showed me.
I'm gonna do it right now.
You're acting awful high and mighty over there on your grammar high horse.
got milk? I got a grammar.
I got it right here. You want it?
Go ahead. Go now. Read it.
Well, as a reminder, this came out of the West Virginia governor's mouth on national television. I'll tell you this. If I'm going to tell you one thing today, it's this. And if you just take a moment and think about it, just one moment, you'll realize that's why I'm telling you, Jim Justice. And if you don't believe me, go all the way back to 2 years ago when the teachers were protesting because they were raising their insurance $400, $500, $600 a month when they were only going to give them a 1% raise. When he went out there to talk to all those teachers in the legislature, go back and listen to what he had to say, because you couldn't make any sense of it, and he ended up losing and giving him a 5% raise and then freezing insurance because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
I like him better than the prior one, but he's an idiot.
God bless him. I think his heart's in the right place. He just he's not a great public speaker.
Yeah, I think
You're drifting.
Oh, sorry.
I think he's a good man. I don't think he's a bad person. I mean, he's probably had ruined a couple people's lives because he is a billionaire. But you know, I like him.
I watched his address yesterday, and he had an entire panel of people from all over the state. CDC was there. They had the adjutant general from the National Guard there. Hoyer, I think his name was.
Did they have the sign language lady in the background?
Oh, that sign language lady. I feel so bad for her. Like, I'm glad that she's got a job, and she's probably listed as an essential employee, but she has to try to translate Jim fucking
How
Justice.
many times can you sign language? I'ma tell you.
Like, anybody that's deaf and requires the use of the sign language might think that she's having a fucking stroke.
Yeah, something's
Like,
wrong.
I didn't know you could stutter in sign language, but she has created that out of Jim. And but yesterday, all the panel had all this information, and I was like, holy shit, we're doing it. We're doing it right. They're putting out good information. And then they said, all right, we're done with everything. They're closing up, and they allowed people to like ask questions. All the news outlets got to ask questions. Regular people got to ask questions. And then they said, we're going to go to the governor and close this up. And I went, oh, fuck, here we go. And Jimmy did not fail to live up to his legendary status now, because like he starts with the hands, like he's making like sock puppets, like he's talking. And then he rambled on about this story of how his dad chokeslammed him into a desk. And he wasn't sure why he did it, but Dad grabbed me by the collar and slammed me on my desk and said, boy, let me tell you what, I'm
going to tell you
I'm going to tell you right now and some things. And I'm going to tell you this story here real quick. And then he hit me on the desk, and like, I'm like, what is going on? And then he's just like, and he said, well, you do it right. You do it right the first time. And I'm just laughing because
hurry, somebody get an AED.
They need to take his talking stick away from him. Like,
I didn't even know that happened.
What?
I didn't hear that one.
What you're talking about? I know.
Yeah, this was yesterday.
You mentioned it earlier, but I didn't really know that actually happened.
Yep, happened yesterday. It was like I said, very informative little conference they had until Big Jim had to get up and speak. The best part was they didn't give him a microphone, so like he's barely legible. Like he's just kind of talking like this.
Honestly, he'd do himself more justice if he just came up and said, "Folks of West Virginia, it's all bad. It's all bad," and then just walked off. Like
that's pretty much what he said a few days ago, though.
Yeah, I mean,
he was like, "We're going to be New York, and then there's a tsunami, and then we have to multiply by a factor of 10 and add a monster," and then he closes it all up with, "Now go catch a trout. Catch a trout and make you feel good." One thing I do believe, though, that they have done or are getting ready to do, though, is waive the license requirements for a fishing license, because it's his way of saying, you got to provide. So we're going to go down to like Cooper's Rock and go to the trout pond and catch dinner.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, you look at it. They say, please stop hoarding. Please stop doing all that shit. And people are, Guys are going to Walmart and literally just taking 50 disinfectant wipes.
See, I mean, I never thought I'd see it here in little old West Virginia, but at the same store I went into to shopping today, there's no toilet paper anywhere, and then there's signs.
There's still none.
There's still none. I was just there right before I came here, and then there's a couple things of like bundles of paper towels. You know, I know you're not supposed to flush those, but hard times are hard times.
For the love of God, don't. If you have a septic, definitely don't flush them.
Do not flush them. You know,
I put some of that the Rid-X or whatever it is, the stuff you put in your septic that's supposed to digest stuff.
Yeah, it's supposed to eat it up, but
like I have some rolls that are not septic safe.
Those flushable wipes will do the same thing.
Yes, yeah, even the flushable wipes, they say don't flush them. So yeah, if you guys have paper towels and toilet paper that's not septic safe, and you have a septic, wipe with it if that's all you got, but throw that bitch in a Walmart bag and then bag that up and put it in your trash. Spray a little Febreze on there. I say spray it with Lysol, but there's hardly any of that left anywhere too.
Yeah.
What else you got, Scott? I know you said you came in here with some notes and some table games or something.
Well, have you checked out the death rates? I think Spain moved in a second.
Right now, according to this, we are above. Oh, and death rate. Hang on. Spain has had 3,434 deaths.
They're number 2, right below Italy, I believe.
Italy is now at 7,503, and China is holding at 3,285.
Now, to put that in perspective, compare the populations between China and those two countries.
yeah, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, China's got 81,661 infected versus Spain's 47,610, and Italy's 74,386.
The only thing I can say to that is Spain and Italy's population is substantially older than China's. That's it. Like,
They're getting wrecked. And that's the only thing but there's got to be something. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, they say it's an older population, but
conspiracy theory.
yeah.
I just think it's strange that every election year something terrible happens. Something, just those new trade deals with China.
Yeah.
Everything's shut down, then this happened, then it comes over here, and now it's a national state lockdown. $2 trillion stimulus package.
Which finally you said passed today.
It did
right?
pass. It did pass today.
Give me my stimulus check.
I mean,
What are you buying with your stimulus check?
I'm gonna try to get my entire left arm done, like sleeve. I've been wanting to get it done for years, and then
Very practical.
also,
Survive.
and then also a retaining wall for
All
my
right.
house.
How much of a stimulus do you think you're getting?
Well, after they tax it, and then I got a uniform allowance coming, so
Oh.
so it says $1,200, but I made more than the income limit, and the way I should get $1,100. I'm sorry, I should get $1,040. I'm going to put it right back into the economy. I'm not saving.
I was going to say, I don't know. I'm going to guess the tattoo shops are going to be closed.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hang on to it. It's not like I'm.
Well, how are you going to stimulate the economy if you're just not going to spend it? You're supposed to get it and then spend it.
I
now.
stimulated today. Gasoline, groceries. I bought a new belt for work because my other one's too tight because I got fat.
Welcome. I did go out before everything shut down, in quotes. I mean, I went to the gas station and got some more fuel. I got 4 5-gallon cans now with the gasoline.
I don't think we got to worry about that, much less the transportation network.
True. I mean, hell, the gas prices, though, God, it's been nice. We're finally under $2 a gallon over here in West Virginia, and I got half a tank filled up, and it was like $11.20 to fill my car up.
Behind my house, it's $1.93, and then right off the exit, it's $1.99. But regardless, I got that truck, and I think I can get it for like $32 now, $36 to fill it up.
Yeah, it used to cost me $97 to fill up the F-150 I had years ago.
You had a big tank, though.
36-gallon
Dude,
tank.
that's end of the world tank. That's ridiculous.
I could get almost 700 miles out of that tank if I hypermiled it.
So did you see? I read an article where I guess Ford they're going to start manufacturing masks
And ventilators. They're making
Yeah,
ventilators
out of
with-
F-150
out of
parts.
F-150 parts.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, holy shit. This is a 5.0 turbo ventilator.
You know they ain't working.
Well, not
I
to,
never had an issue with my Ford.
not to get completely off topic, but I've mentioned this before. It just absolutely blows my mind. Okay, so you used to have that older Ford. It wasn't old, but
I had a 2014, then I had a 94 prior to that.
okay. But either way, it had true aspirated V8s, real V8s.
Mhm.
And now
That's the only reason I liked that truck was I didn't want the EcoBoost with the turbos in it. I wanted the 5.0 V8. And the difference between the 94 model and the 2014 was they made the top half of the engine block aluminum and the piston heads aluminum to reduce weight.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is I just think it's crazy. Like I got that truck. It's a 2020. It's crew cab. It's like whatever when you get a truck, whatever. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got a 5.3 V8, but it's got cylinder deactivation.
Yeah.
Okay, now hear me out. So you've got my dad used to have a 94 Silverado with a 5.7 V8, big old burly V8, cast iron block. I get 2 more miles per gallon than he did 25 years ago. So what? I don't understand why the EPA. It's killing the car industry. I think like that's why.
Well, I mean that's why they're reducing everything to lighter weight. I mean everything's lighter weight.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be hell editing all of that.
I'm really sorry. I'll just.
You got the Rona?
No, I haven't.
No, I mean it's going to pick it up regardless. But
sorry.
So I mean you're actually able to be that far away, and apparently your voice is naturally loud enough.
I apologize.
It's great.
The sounds of Zachary Doorman.
There are no wrong sounds here.
I feel like I'm doing pretty good for the first time.
It's just you got to couple booshes in you, you're good.
That coffee was really good.
Yeah, it was good coffee. Yeah, we're not. It's not like the last 2 episodes where I was like, ah, ah! Or I was freaking the fuck out, man.
Let me tell you
about Dakota the Samurai. So, while we're talking about these newer vehicles and everything, maybe we could go back a little bit to a time when times were simpler, like our first vehicles. What was your first vehicle you had there, Doorman?
I had a 1996 Dodge Neon, and it was OD green. It was like a dark
Sweet.
forest green. 4-door though. 4-door. Only had 67,000 miles. Got her for $1,200. Ran like a top.
Nice.
Very nice. Very classy.
And it got 34 miles to the gallon, and it was a 1996, y'all.
As catalytic converters were not really a big thing back then, Like my first one that I had, first vehicle I ever had was a 1987 Ford Ranger XLT.
I had one of those.
8-foot bed on a Ford Ranger. And that's when the Ranger was still small. Had a little lift to it, 2 fuel tanks. Like, for a Ranger that, like the 90s models of the Rangers, they're tiny little pick-em-up trucks. This was back when a truck was a truck. I loved that thing. And top speed of that thing was about 65 miles an hour. Speedometer topped out at 70. I don't remember what kind of motor was in it, but I do.
What year was it again?
It was 87.
The only thing I knew they had back then was a 2.3 4-cylinder and a 3.0 V6.
It had that old style, like the Camaro style shifter.
In the column or in the floor?
It was the floor. It was an automatic, but it was the old, like it looked like the Camaro shifter. Like it had like the. It was weird. But God, I love that truck. I ended up rolling that truck though in the Monarch Mountain Range up in Montana near the Cascades. Found out you can't do power slides in a lifted pickup doing 60 miles an hour in like dirt roads
and an 8-foot
woods.
bed.
Yeah, and an 8-foot bed.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, rolled over 6 times, landed upside down, and it almost killed me because the cab started to crush. Because when it landed upside down, the weight of the truck started crushing in. And I went, oh well, this is it. Ironically, though, where I landed, the cab part landed in the ditch, and the bed landed on the road, and the hood landed on somewhat of an embankment right above the ditch. And the weight of the truck crushing on it was stopped by the bed of the truck and the hood of the truck stopping on the land that was up higher than where the cab itself landed, than in the ditch. Had it landed any other way, they said it would have snapped my neck. And when it stopped, my neck was like this at like almost a 90-degree angle. And I'll never forget, though, I was hanging there upside down. I actually was, wearing a seatbelt. And I had this old Stetson hat of mine, and I looked over, and it was laying in the passenger area on the roof of the truck. And I just kind of looked at it and went, well, what do we do now? I don't know why, but I talked to the hat like it was going to talk back to me. And I ended up getting my seatbelt unbuckled, fell to the ceiling, and then was able to make my way kind of into one of the windows there and kick the window out and crawl out. And my buddies that were camping with me, as I kicked it out, like they were all running up to me, and I was like, I can't believe that just fucking happened. Like, I was in such denial. I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. We can drive it. And I got everybody convinced. We flipped it back over, like right side up, and it is just crushed. And I was like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just put $40 worth of gas in this thing. It'll be fine. And we tried to drive it back, and it wouldn't start. So we left it there in the woods, drive 60-some miles back to base. Get my buddy Pickles was what we called him. His last name was like Pickering, so everybody called him Pickles. And he had this big Ram 3500. So we drive out there, and we were going to hook this thing up with a tow strap, and I was going to sit in the cab and then drive it 60 miles back. And by drive it, I mean just steer it while he's pulling me. Well, get out there, and it had been pushed out into a field. We didn't push it there, and it was riddled full of holes.
Nice.
I go into the bed. I look in the bed, and there's shotgun shells, beer bottles all over it. Like somebody had shot the F out of this truck.
Dirty
like,
Mike and the boys.
Like they blasted it to pieces. There was a TV in it that was all broken open. And then the sheriff's department, as I left, called me in because my plate was still on it. And they were like, did you do this? I said, no, I'm trying to get it out of there. So I had to call a wrecker company, and they pretty much took it for the tow charge. Was I didn't have the $175 because I was active duty to pay for the tow. And I said, will you just take the truck? They're like, yeah, that's fine. So they junked it and like called it even. But man, that sucked. I love that truck, man. And I had nothing but problems with it though when I first bought it. The transmission exploded out of it. Cost me $800 after the first week of owning it. It was those good old fashioned car dealers right outside of a military base. Just all the swindlers circle their wagons right outside of base, and they see some young idiot like me, 19 years old, needs a car. It's like, oh, truck.
No money down.
Probably didn't even have a radiator in it.
I love that truck, man, but nope. God.
I had one of those as well, but it was just a 97. It was a good truck. Put over 100,000 miles on it in 6-7 years, and my brother ended up driving it, and then we sold it to one of my dad's buddies, and he's still driving it.
My favorite car was the second car I ever owned that I still to this day. If I was able to take it with me when I left the military, I would still drive it today. 1996 Pontiac Bonneville SE. 3.8 liter Series 2 V6 with the supercharger. It was the 4-door granny wagon, grocery getting, like Staten Island Ferry, just like the same. It was the Pontiac version of the Buick LeSabre.
Mm-hmm.
Good on gas, I bet.
I don't even remember. I remember it could haul though. Like it was the epitome of a sleeper car because that model was built to have a supercharger integrated with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it for $3,000 back in like the mid 2000s. And my God, it was awesome. It had 156,000 miles on it when I bought it. Then when I sold it, 256,000 miles on it. Sold it for $1,500. It needed some new brakes, but the kid that got it and made out with it, I think he still is driving it to this day. At least I like to think so anyway.
I had one of those Pontiacs one time.
Is Pontiac even still in business, or are they done?
I think
they're
gone.
Done. They're gone.
Damn, that's a collector's item now.
I can't remember exactly who went under the umbrella of FCA. I know Jeep, Ram. I want to say Pontiac fell underneath that. So like
where Fiat got them?
No, they were GM.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. Buick was GM. Or no, wait a minute. Was it a Buick you said you had?
No, it was the equivalent. It was the same body styling as a Buick LeSabre, but it was a Pontiac Bonneville.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know they still make Buick.
I think they just called it quits with Pontiacs. Like GM just said,
look,
we're done.
I've found the same. Like I had mine was the Evergreen Metallic, and I found a bunch of them on Auto Trader, and I have almost pulled the trigger on them so many times. Like, oh God, they just hold their value.
I had I want to say it was a 98 Grand Prix, and it wasn't like the fastest car ever.
Yeah.
But it was like the first one that I ever actually qualified to get a loan for myself. and it was so comfortable. Like I mean, like I said, it wasn't fast, but for the time, it had like all the accessories. The power windows and the power moonroof, and it was a 2-door, and it was just so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Now it was a GM, so I constantly had transmission problems, but other than that, it was a pretty reliable car.
Look, that Pontiac, man, it was like New York City park benches in the back seat, and then it was like lazy boy recliners on the front, man. God, I love that car.
Yeah, it's it's pretty hard to believe that you can take a car from the late 80s, early 90s, even early 2000s, and just take a look at the interior. And yeah, they don't have touch screens, they don't have Bluetooth, they have a tape deck player, or 8-track player, or whatever you want to call it. But the seats were way more comfortable back in the day than they are now.
Yeah.
If that makes the materials different. Like
now, don't get me wrong, like, because I had that Wrangler. I had that 2010, 2011 Wrangler Sahara for a few years. And I was okay with it. I was very happy that I just had a CD player. But, so now, okay, so a little segue into this is, so now that we've talked about like our old favorites and those old beaters and the cheap cars we had that we loved, like looking back, those cars probably really aren't that good, but it was just the attachment that we have with them. Now getting older, just trading up is, I don't know really if it's just the thing to do, or it's just like wise business choices or smart life choices, whatever. I prefer to have a car that's paid off, and my Jeep Wrangler almost was.
I agree.
But I believe everybody in this room right now, we've all recently traded up.
I disagree with one of the statements.
What's that?
Is yeah, there probably was some type of attachment, but I had less issues out of that Dodge Neon. I put 30,000 miles on it for a total of almost just under 100,000 miles on it when I got rid of it. Zero issue. Not one issue. Just normal maintenance.
The mechanics were simpler back then.
Yes.
Less computers.
The Ranger 97 model, put 163,000 miles on it before I got rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
No issue. I did have, if you accelerated really hard going on an interstate ramp, the transmission would begin to slip. But you got to think, it's a 97. I never changed the fluid in it. I don't know if it ever was changed. It slipped a little bit, but it never left me stranded.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to, I don't know if you guys remember when I had the 2019 Ram. Remember the white, it was 2019. The rear back cab leaked. Mirrors stopped folded in. I mean, I had issue after issue after issue.
I mean, it's the price you pay, though, for the modern conveniences of a lot of things that they install in these vehicles. Yeah. Like, I mean, for me, like right now, I just got that, and it's new to me, but it's that 2018 Jeep Renegade. I got the Trailhawk edition because I wanted the good four-wheel drive model. Like, it's supposed to have the good transmission in it, but I do love all the little bells and whistles of it, but I do worry about all the little bells and whistles of it causing issues. Now, I just had an issue with the stereo in it. Like, I turned it on, and that's one thing I will give these newer vehicles. Like, they're pretty good at creating, like, a self-diagnostic. Like, when there was an issue that I've had in that car, it lets you know.
Yeah.
It lets you know exactly what it is without the use of a diagnostic tool. Like my little HUD or whatever, my readout right there in the center dash cluster has a nice big screen, and it runs a self-diagnostic. And if there's any issues, it has like a little mailbox with all the messages in it. Like it let me know exactly when my oil had dropped. Like it dropped half a quart from its 5.5 quarts it's supposed to have. And
tire pressure.
Yeah, monitors the tire pressure. I had an issue with like the right front speaker. I think it's more of a tweeter in the stereo. And as soon as I turn on, it says stereo system unavailable, check fault. And I look at it, and then I'm able to access from my big screen that you have in the dash, and then slide the speaker to adjust your balance and your fade to whichever one. I found out that way when I went all the way to the right front one, there was no sound coming out, and I slid it back, and everything else worked. Like those little smart things they put in there, they're nice. I didn't think I'd ever like the blind spot indicators. Those things are great.
Yes, especially if you have like I said, this truck now is so many blind spots because it's like 35 foot long, you know. And I mean, the greatest thing about the technology is like you said, mine tells me my brake pad life and all 4 brake pads, tire pressure, percentage of oil, and it tell you the transmission temperature. It'll tell you when all your fluids are low or when they need to be changed. Now, I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but you know, hey, it's definitely an improvement over what has been normal in the past.
What about you, Scott? Now, you had that what? You had a older Patriot, didn't you?
Yeah.
And
You look like a patriot.
I drove the guts out of that thing, believe it or
I
not.
remember.
I drove that thing.
You drove that thing like you were in a damn convoy overseas.
It ended up, I think it was over 230,000 when I got rid of it.
It's
And
incredible.
the only thing that ever happened to it is they replaced the transmission twice, but other than that, like I never had any issues out of it. And I'd still be driving it today, but the engine seized up on it while I was gone.
What'd you end up getting?
Same exact thing, just newer.
You're a fan of those Patriots.
I like Jeeps, and I wouldn't even have done that, but I don't like getting myself into vehicle payments.
Yeah.
But I had to have something with very low mileage, not brand new, but something. Yeah. I think this new one had like 9,000 miles or 6,000 miles on it when I got it.
Yeah, God, this one had 49,000
Yeah.
when I got it. Now, I only had like 90,000 on that Wrangler when I got rid of it, but the engine was starting to go. I was losing power, and the headers were acting a little funny. I was like,
Spark plugs?
I replaced all the plugs, replaced all the wires, replaced coil pack, didn't do me another coil pack. Like, I was actually starting to change out parts in that Wrangler before anything broke because I wanted it to last. So I redid all that, redid the entire suspension system, new coils, new shocks, new steering stabilizers, everything just to keep that thing just rock solid. But when the engine started to go, I was like, ooh, we're about to get into some money here if this thing does go. So I ended up getting that 4-banger, which that Renegade for a little 4-cylinder has surprised the hell out of me because it's the one vehicle that I've truly had with 4-wheel drive capabilities and that smart traction control that can actually do the job. Wranglers and trucks and everything I've had before, anytime I'm having to be in an off-road situation or a 4-wheel drive necessary situation, I always turn traction control off and manipulate the gears manually. This one, I tried it in mud and snow and put it on mud mode and snow mode and just clicked it and hit the gas, and it was able to calculate and adjust itself faster than what I could do it at, which that blew my mind because it's just a little 4-cylinder. I mean, hell, it pulled the old lady's car out of a ditch when she had, and of course that was a little Hyundai Elantra that she had, and hooked it right up with a tow strap, backed it right out, and we were done.
It's really odd the way things are shaking out with the government's response to this. Now, I know we don't like to get political, but we just, here we are in, an emergency situation, and we have politicians fighting over the same old things,
Yeah.
Did you guys see what the Democrats proposed in what happened was I'm not picking sides. I'm saying how ridiculous it is on both sides. Their initial Senate plan for Mitch McConnell, they are giving out $1,200 and $500 per kids for anyone making $75,000 or less.
And the cutoff was 99,000.
Cutoff was 99,000. I disagree with that because 99,000 in West Virginia is amazing. Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, Kentucky, amazing. It's great money. But that's nothing when you work in D.C.
Yeah.
That's nothing when you work in San Diego. That's no money. That's minimum wage in those parts of the country.
They didn't calculate it for the inflation.
Not only that, they also had a big thing in there where they had pretty much, if you're going to stimulate the economy, they had a huge sum of money going to designated companies that, I want companies to succeed, but the last 2 or 3 stimuluses, those people that work for these companies, they don't get the money.
Mm-hmm.
These hedge fund managers get the company. These wealthy people end up doing what they want with the money. The workers don't get the money. So I disagree with that on the Republican Senate. Now the Democrats come back with their plan saying, "Hey, you're not doing enough for workers." Well, they added some wordplay in there to allegedly help the workers, but it was not. They threw in some bills in there and some language like they were talking about. They want a quota of different types of ethnicities on what are they called, chairman boards, or like it was ridiculous. Like they were passing minor legislation in with the stimulus legislation, which is completely wrong because that has nothing to do with the problem right now.
Yeah.
Like I read that probably 2 or 3 hours ago, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like they're passing all these affirmative actions and all this other stuff that's completely unrelated to what we're dealing with. And they threw that in an 1,119-page bill, hoping that no one would read it, and they would pass it. But they caught it, and they were like, are you serious? And now they're...
That is one thing that's been pissing me off throughout this entire situation right here. Instead of actually focusing just on the aid needed, both sides are guilty of it, of trying to sneak in something into these large spending bills. And it's usually like, to me, the mentality is them just going, this is our chance to get everything we wanted because everybody's desperate for aid and there's a lot of pressure. So if we just want to get this done or want to put this in the bill, we'll just hold out for it and then they'll cave because it's urgent. But the House and Senate, Republican and Democrat, are both slow walking the shit out of this. And all I do is see people on social media complaining about it, and I stay out of politics for things publicly, like on my social media accounts, and even on this, like on the show. I have opinions, I have political opinions, I have political values and views, but I keep them off here, and so I'm not going to disclose what it is that I personally believe, because those are my personal opinions. Like, we've gotten to the point now as a society, as a people, that we identify whether somebody's a good person or a bad person based upon their political alignment.
100%.
And that's terrible. We used to not be so vested just in it's your political assignment that you identify with. Okay? Everybody wants you to be tolerant as to whatever gender you want to identify as nowadays. But when it comes down to politics, it's straight black and white. You're either with us or you're against us. So with that, for me, I stay out of that. You're like, I'm never going to tell anybody on this what my opinion is, because they're my opinions. I keep them to myself. At the end of the day, we are all still people here on this country, on this planet, whatever it is. Okay? Democrat and Republican, both sides of the aisle that are in need of a stimulus, that are wanting this stimulus, are both being denied it until it's cleared. Because both sides are trying to play the blame game, because both sides are trying to slow walk it to get what they want.
Exactly.
And the one thing that I've told people that I kind of poked my head up in social media and said, that's absolutely fine. Take your time. Take all the time you need. Because your voter base, your citizenry, they're getting impatient. They're getting desperate because a lot of people really do need this stimulus. And now they're going to start to get angry.
They were supposed to vote and pass legislation last Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it took them a week. Now, granted, I know a week's not very long for a $2 trillion spending package.
This one that they say they're going to pass today still hasn't completely passed. It could all fall to shit again. But people are gonna remember this. Like, that's the one thing that pisses me off too, is where you see it. It's always on social media. Democrats did this. Remember this. Remember this. Come vote time. Well, Republicans did something else too, so remember that at vote time. Both sides are guilty of it. They don't give a shit.
No,
they don't give a damn about you or me.
Every one of them's making over $200,000 a year, and every one of them's got some type of special interest. I saw some lady up there crying the other day about, we shouldn't be getting paid if the American people aren't getting paid. It's like, lady, I really appreciate that. That's really that's really nice of you, but you're still wealthy. When you walk off that podium, you're still going to eat well. You're still going to have your private security. You're going to go back to your big, beautiful house. The people working down here at Mario's Fishbowl, they aren't getting tips right now, ain't making money, single parents. They don't have that luxury. No. And that's what irritates me. It's like, no, you can say whatever you want, but you're not in their shoes. You're in a whole different level when you're up in that ballpark.
I mean, maybe it's they do that by design, or maybe they truly are ignorant, but I sincerely doubt it. So, guys, it looks like we're all out of time here for this evening tonight. But let's try to take something away from this. I don't care what party you align yourself with, Democrat, Republican, one of them crazy-ass Tea Party guys, or one of them libertarians. I honestly don't care. If I run into you on the street and you're truly in need, I'll do everything I can to help you. And I guarantee you Scott and Doorman here would do the same thing. So let's all try to remember in this time of strife and anxiety and everything that we're going through here as a society and as a people. You're people first. You're not identified by your political party alone. We all know that. We're all special little snowflakes. We're all something that makes us special. So be more than just what it is that you identify as politically. Look at people as more than that. And hopefully, if we stick together through this, regardless of what it is that we personally believe politically, we'll make it through this thing as a people. But all right, guys, that's all we got here for you. This is River Sullivan saying thank you from this evening tonight. Along here with me, Scott and Zach the Doorman. Don't forget all the other different ways, though, here that you can listen. iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Sounder, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. And also, if you're curious about the coffee that we drank here on the show, feel free to check out ironbeancoffee.com. We will include links in the description here below. But until next time, guys, till next I see ya. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.